Chapter 9, the motivation of instrumental action. How motivational states affect behavior. Laboratory studies of motivation began in the 1920s and 1930s. They found out about specific hungers, which are when humans and animals are deprived of a specific nutrient, and they have specific hungers that motivate them to eat these nutrients. Behavior is naturally organized and automatic at detecting specific needs and then going about satisfying them. Homeostasis is when the body defends an equilibrium, and when the body is off balance, it goes about correcting it back to that equilibrium. Clark Hull's theory that reinforcers reduce drive, and that drive was thought to be a motivational state when the body was in need, was able to be put into a formula. This formula is behavior strength equals D times H, where D equals drive and H equals habit, which was Hull's term for learning. Hull's idea was consistent with the rat in the forest fable. Drive was caused by the need, and the rat was only motivated by drive when it needed something in a biological way. Drive energizes the animals, and you get energy from general activity, as in moving around to find the motivation object, and from consumption, food, water, etc. It is instrumental behavior or goal-directed action. Does drive merely energize? Hull's theory only worked up into a specific point, and drive could not explain general activity. Campbell et al. Tested drive on general activity from multiple different animals, and they found a very wide range of effects. It was messy, and there didn't seem to be anything general about it across the species. This is probably because the hunger and thirst, the drive tend to increase behaviors that are distinctive to each type of animal. Another issue with drive is that instrumental action is not just a simple function of deprivation level. Dickinson and Baleen argued that the effects of motivational state on instrumental behavior depend crucially on the animal's knowledge of how the reinforcer actually affects the motivational state. Incentive learning is when an animal ingests a reinforcer while it is in a particular motivational state. Baleen proved Hull wrong when he did an experiment on rats. The results were as followed. The rats tested for the first time while they were hungry showed no effect of hunger on performance. In another experiment, Baleen showed that the effects of either increases or decreases in hunger on instrumental behavior depend on the rat's knowledge of the effect of the pellets while in the tested motivational state. Other experiments have shown that animals first need to learn about motivational effects, for example, drinking water, eating pellets after weaning from their mother's milk, or even feeling warm. The value of the reinforcer must be learned for it to have any significance to the animal. Tolman emphasized the importance of cathexis, which is the connection between a goal and its corresponding motivational state. This is learned during the consumption of the goal object. Foods and solutions consumed while animals are in a corresponding state of deprivation become preferred or more reinforcing later. Kabanek demonstrated this in one of his experiments. Is motivated behavior a response to need? Back to the rat in the forest scenario, the rat wakes up in a state of need, so all actions after he awakens is a response to this need. Hull's theory is often called a depletion-repletion theory. Another issue arises in the fact that animals might need to prepare in advance for a need and not wait until that need is present. For example, acquiring food in advance because it is scarce. This behavior is organized to anticipate needs. Fitzsimmons and Le Magnin placed rats on low and high protein diets and then put rats the rats who were on protein diets, who didn't consume as much water, on high protein diets, which needed more water consumption. They eventually learned to take in extra water at each meal so that the protein could be digested better. Another study by them showed that rats who were used to eating 3 meals a day will eventually learn to eat more at meal 1 than at meal 3 when meal 2 was taken away. When food is freely available, rats will eat around 9 to 12 meals a day, mostly at night. And when eating food at salient times, the system takes advantage of Pavlovian CRs that can occur in response to these cues.